Found you. Hello and welcome back to Keith's Whisky Vlog. How are you, whisky friends? Very good. That's my Mr. Rogers impression. Tom Hanks, eat your heart out, if you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, there we go. What we're doing today, we're not doing a whisky tasting as such. We are on to my golden tube. Right, what's in here? 6 bottles lined up as well. It's all a bit clustered on the table. Today what I'm going to do is top up my infinity bottle. Got the black hole t-shirt on. The infinity bottle, I have filled this up previously. An infinity bottle, in case you don't know, is a bottle that never runs out. It goes down, goes back up to the top, goes down, goes back up to the top. There's different ways of doing it. You can pour in the last dram or two out of every bottle. You can skillfully mix it and have a little sort of tasting notes along the lines of whiskies that you like yourself. Or you can just do what I'm doing and pretty much pile whiskey in. So this is the first fill. It's getting a bit low, and to maintain enough of that first fill, the initial vatting, if you like, which I think I had 9 whiskies. I had 3 Islay whiskies. Anyone that knows me knows I like my Islay, so 3 is a little bit on the short side. I'm going to rectify that today. I had 3 Speysides, and I had a Lowland and 2 Highlands, one from Scapa up in Orkney and one from Talisker. Talisker 18 was in there, the Scapa Skirin, and a Glen Kinchy, was it the 10-year-old I think? Sorry, Glen Kinchy 12-year-old. My 3 Islas, I put some Lafroig 10 in because it's base whiskey, just put it in. I also used a Finlaggan Whisky Festival 2017. That was a port wine cask matured whisky, and I also put in some Kilchoman Sanig. So that was my 3 Islas, the 3 Highlands and the Lowland, 2 Highlands and Lowland, and the 3 Speysides. I put in some Glenfarclas 105. I had some Glenrothes, the whisky maker's cut from Glenrothes, actually converted into a lamp. And I also put in some Glen Keith, Distiller's Edition. Why not? Nothing to do with flavour notes or anything, just purely to do with the label and my name. So we have, what we're down, maybe about a third left, maybe down towards a quarter. We'll call it 30% left in the bottle. So we need to fill this back up, and that's what we're going to do for you today. I'm going to do it all on camera. Hopefully we don't spill any. Now, what I should do, just before I change it, what I am going to do is just have a tiny little drop of batch 1 of Keith's. Well, I noticed there was a little mistake in my labelling. Single malt Scotch whisky, Keith's Infinity bottle, bottled at home since 2020. It's not really single malt, is it, when I'm mixing it together? So it's vatted malt whisky, vatted single malts. So I'll have to put a little additional sticker up on my little homemade labels. So I'll do a little tasting for you of my existing Infinity. It's very nice. It's quite an unusual whisky. You could taste the component parts. It's got the strength of the Glenfarclas 105, the Talisker 18, so it's quite rich. Certainly sweet notes, not too smoky at all. The Lafroig doesn't dominate. So yeah, very sugary, very sweet. I did put a decent amount of sort of sherry whisky in. I like my smokies, but then I like my sherry or my sweet anyway, red wine, port wine, port casks, anything like that. And a little bit of the sea air, quite fresh. So yeah, it's sweet, sugary, quite juicy fruits. So you're talking things like plums, red apple, sort of rich, juicy sponge almost. So that's in the nose, just a little bit there. And there's the reassuring Islay. That's the Lafroig and the Finlagan. Now that Finlagan, I've done a tasting review, the 2017 Vigila bottle, Islay Whisky Festival bottle, and if I had to guess on taste alone, I had that down as a Laphroaig, although it was probably a Caol Ila. So possibly double Laphroaig in there, but you're getting the real, what I call the sort of the burnt wood chips, the burnt sawdust on the warehouse floor, that sort of almost a little bit sort of damp, quite pungent, quite a bit malty almost in there as well, in the mouth. Yeah, interesting, sweet in the nose, much more earthy, smoky in the mouth. Nice, not too well rounded, but it's what it is. Crazy mix. Where have we heard that before? So now to top up, and I'll tell you as we go what I'm putting into it. Now, if you've got any, I'll put it that way, if you've got any little hip flasks, got a nice hip flask, here's my pointer, hip flask up here, the Multnomah Whisky Library over in Portland, Oregon. Good guys, they came over to Islay with me a couple of years ago now, and if you get a hip flask, you usually get this little sort of funnel, so I find that's quite useful. Don't want to spill any, we'll probably spill a little bit, but we don't want to spill too much, so that helps to pour. I also remember the last time when it got to the top I poured a little bit too much in, so watch out for that. So what we're going to be putting in today is, get rid of the rattle, got some Highland Park, so we've got another Orkney to go with the Scapa Skiren that's already in there, and this is a non-age statement. I've not actually done a tasting review of this yet, but I'll be doing one presently, and this is the Highland Park Valfather, and it's a present that I got recently. The good lady wife always behind the scenes, and this was for Father's Day, Valfather Father's Day. There you go, and I was up in Orkney actually for Father's Day as well, so ticked a few boxes. So the Highland Park Valfather, I have already opened this and had a few, purely recreational purposes, so that'll be going in. We've got a little bit of Kilchoman Macher Bay, so I'm tending to call this Kilchoman's Laphroaig 10-year-old equivalent at the moment. Quite down the middle, smoky, peaty. We'll be putting some of that in. Lovely dram. That was my favourite Kilchoman before I tasted the Sanig. This one, I've got no Lagavulin in my Infinity at the moment, so we're going to rectify that in this fill with the Lagavulin 9-year-old. Now, as well as doing an individual tasting video for this, also check out the video I did with John Blythe, little whisky chat, and we ran through 8 whiskies one evening, and this was one of them. Really nice Lagavulin, only 9 years old, but none the worse for it. So we're going to stick some Lagavulin in. So quite sweet. You can tell that's a Highland Park. It's sweet, it's honey, very nice. Islay, smoky. Lagavulin, smoky but a bit richer. We've got some Laphroaig quarter cask. If you check out my Laphroaig videos, I did a Laphroaig threesome, so I did the 10-year-old, the triple wood and the quarter cask side by side, and this one came out on top, so I'm going to pop in already some 10-year-old in there. We'll put the Laphroaig quarter cask in. I'm going to do my second fill of Finlagan. So the previous one, as I say, the 2017 festival bottle, port wine matured. This is a red wine cask matured Finlagan, non-age statement, Mystery Islay Distillery. That'll go in as well, and that'll hopefully maintain the sweet rounded sherry that I like with the red wine notes in there. And also a bottle I just came into recently is the Glengoyne, again non-age statement, but this is a cask strength. Is it batch number 8, I think? I'm pretty sure it is, it'll tell me on the bottle, but limited batch, Glengoyne, and this comes in at a little gentle 59.2%. So that will be the sort of the Glenfarclas 105 of this fill. So we'll get on with it. Start at the front, Highland Park, Valve Feather. Didn't know too much about this whisky, hadn't asked for it. My good lady wife is becoming very well trained. She knows what she's talking about when it comes to single malts, well, single malts for a start, and she was very pleased with herself in advance of Father's Day. She told me that she was she'd got me a nice one, so I was keenly anticipating Father's Day and I was not disappointed. Now the bottle's black, you can't really tell how much. I reckon I'm down to about here. I've had a few out of it, so there's still a lot. Just a double one there. Yeah, as I say, it's very, very true Highland Park. I'd have to taste it next to the 12-year-old, but I don't think it's much different from the 12 years old. So here we go on camera. Right, can't see it, actually see it coming out the bottle here either. Put a little bit more in. Right, now we'll get rid of the box. We'll keep the bottle in case we need to add any more. Yeah, I'll be fine there. Right, some Macher Bay. If you're ever in Islay, make sure you actually visit Macher Bay as well. Again, a non-age statement, named after the beach just maybe a mile or so to the west of the distillery. And Kilchoman, a really interesting distillery. I've got a little experimental casks tasting pack that I'm going to do a tasting of as well. Check it out. If it's not currently available, it will be online quite soon. But things like Calvados, various like port wine and things, all sorts of interesting casks. So this is one of their core range, the Macher Bay, non-age statement, but very, very Islay. Silent cork on this one. Bit malty, a little bit young, a bit sharp. Pushing up towards halfway. Lovely corks on the Kilchoman. These things shouldn't matter, but I quite enjoy the comfort that good packaging gives you. Lagavulin, 9 years old, Game of Thrones. Now, when I tasted this with John, a good friend John, who loves his whisky, we hadn't sort of read up on it at all beforehand. Usually I read the carton, the box, and usually it will tell you a little bit about it, but it didn't really tell us anything other than Game of Thrones, Baratheon, Tully, Tyrell, Greyjoy, etc. But when I was looking at the tasting video we didn't get any sweet notes, nothing too sort of rounded in that regard, but we were suspecting bourbon, and it comes from all first fill bourbon barrels, the Lagavulin 9-year-old. So very nice. Get rid of that one. Very similar colour. Now, as most people know, Lagavulin use that caramel colour to just bring it up a little bit. So unavoidable, I suppose, if I'm putting Lagavulin in, a little bit of caramel into my vatted single malt Infinity Batch 2. And as you can see, there's zero science going into this. Just pile it in. Oh, that's nice. Oh. Right, I'm going to leave the Lefroy till last, I think. So some Finlaggan red wine cask mature. This whisky The Vintage Malt Whisky Company, I think this is a gem of a whisky. Mystery Islay Distillery. Used the non-age statement on their Finlagan core range. I think it's Old Reserve. You've got the red wine cask, port wine cask, one or two others as well. I mean, look at the colour on that one for a non-age statement. And 46%, so enough heft about it. Boom. Right, let's keep the colour going. I always find this is a really good one for sharing with friends. Two more to go in, so I'll put a little bit more in. Whoop. Righty ho, some Glengoyne, that's the cask strength now. We'll put a little bit of this in and see what it does. So, really nice whisky. I'm a smokehead. These are utterly smokeless. I think they even use steam to dry their malting barley. So no smoke whatsoever going into the Glengoyne whisky. So cask strength, limited batch. What did I say? 59.2%. And yes, batch 8, 008, batch number 008. This one is as well. Catch it. Right. Plenty of this, so we'll get this up to maybe up near the shoulder. Obviously it's a little bit wet underneath now. It's for the air to get in as the liquid goes, air to get in as out as the liquid goes in. Right. Strong, malty, strong. Lovely. Found that one was really nice with water. The Glengoyne took a lot of the strength away, and some more Laphroaig, because you need Laphroaig in your life. Medicine. Used in hospitals to heal folk and to clean them as well. Not really, but wouldn't surprise me. So we're halfway down the quarter cask. Great value bottle. I think these are quite young, 4 or 5 years old, the Laphroaig quarter cask. Always like the cork on the Laphroaig as well. Get a little still. Don't know, just as I say, makes me happy, these little touches. 48%, so a decent percentage as well. See if I can do this. This is best laid plans. Laphroaig quarter cask just to fill it near the top. Wasn't sure where to drink it to then fill it up. And I thought about there, maybe the top label, and then drank a bit more and it was just going down and down. I eventually had to stop drinking it. Need to fill it up. Oh, so happy. So we've got Laphroaig quarter cask, Glengoyne cask strength, batch number 8, Lagavulin number 9, Finlagan red wine cask, 46%, Cahoman Macker Bay, and some Highland Park Valfather. So we've got a Highland an Islay, an Islay, an Islay, an Islay, and a Highland. Although it's half Highland, half Lowland. They mature it in the Lowlands, they distill it in the Highlands. So I've covered all regions. The stuff down there was the original 9, that's another 6, there's 15 whiskies in here at the moment. Tastes a little right, funnily enough. And as long as I never empty it, all these whiskies will always remain. It's the beauty of the infinity bottle. Not only does it not run out, but there should always be some part of every whisky you've ever put into it. For anyone who's curious, it's a Bowmore bottle. I had a good think before I made the infinity bottle. Watch my infinity bottle video, you'll see all this stuff. But so many good bottles, but I quite like the Bowmore one. Just nice shoulders on it. Number 1 vault's legendary, over 200 years old. So to get the best out of this, I've got to leave it for a couple of days to fully settle in, but I'm going to do just a little splash in the bottom of my glass for you as well. Just getting it. I'm impatient. I want to know straight away what it's like. So I've got a nice little mix here. Bit of a puddle. I'll be licking this off video. A wee bit more of the smoke, considering how much Islay I've put in this time. Smoky, earthy. Just do a little bit. So it's still in the neck. Still a full bottle. You got through that through the post, you'd be happy it was filled properly. So I'll put this away now. Let it marry together, and in a few days' time I will do a little proper tasting of this for you, and I'll add it to the end of this video, as if by magic. But initial thoughts. It's nice, it's still got that sweetness, that sort of glycerin, almost like a pear backdrops, a bit citrusy but juicy citrus. Quite clean. Again, it's so it's whiter fruit than the red fruit of the initial batch number 2. It's full on, which I think is coming from the Glengoyne, and I think there's a fair bit of the red wine in there as well. But certainly in the nose you're getting a bit of the Highland Park. Not quite the honey, but more sort of pear, white grape. Very nice. Sniffed that for a long time. It's quite an interesting one. It's not got any dirt to it. Very interesting. Right, in the mouth. And again, there comes the smoke, the earth, the Islay. Really strong, a real kick to it, almost overpowering. The Maccabi in the quarter cask in the mouth. A little bit peppery, which is probably the Glengoyne. So yes, right up my street. Maybe not as sweet as the initial one, a bit clearer on the nose and a little bit darker in the mouth. So I hope you enjoyed my little infinity refill. Keith's vatted single malt infinity bottle, batch number 2. One or two of my lucky friends might get a little sample through the post or be invited to join some as well. So we're better to do the tasting for my Infinity Batch 2 than here at Lagavulin on the beautiful south coast of Islay. I rectified one oversight in my first batch, which was no Lagavulin, and as you've seen I've added some 9-year-old Lagavulin and the Game of Thrones edition. So let's get a little tasting done for you. As you can see, it's the first dram out of it. Not had any yet, been looking forward to it. It's about 2 weeks since the video that I filmed with the attached to this, with the filling up of the bottle. A little bit in my hands, it smells of Islay whiskey, it's very good. A little bit malty. So on the nose. Very nice. I'm getting quite sort of citrus notes, a bit of smoke, bit of peat, as I'd expect. I made sure there was enough this time. Less sherry flavours added, no port or anything. So yeah, we're looking at a bit more sort of citrusy, a bit more lemony, a little bit of pear, quite sweet, but not too lush, not too rounded. Quite nice. So interesting. I'm trying to think what I could compare it to. I can't really compare it to very much at the moment. You've got the smoke, you've got the peat, but you've also got quite citrusy as well, almost either side without too much connecting them. I've been here right on the coast. You've seen the ruins of the castle. We're at Dunyveg Castle, just outside Lagavulin. Trying to find some maritime notes, salt, brine, not really getting much of that. So, interesting. Let's try it, see what it tastes like. Quite strong, a bit peppery, quite hot in the tongue. A little bit of warmth going down as well. Not as much smoke as I was anticipating. Yeah, very citrusy. No real roundedness. It's quite a sharp taste. It's very nice. It's not the most lush. Certainly not the oldest, not the most balanced whiskey I've ever tasted, but quite enjoying it. It's like a heated up Islay, but with less peat smoke. Yeah, so there we go. A little bit peaty, a little bit smoky, quite citrusy, quite sweet, bit of lemon, a little bit of pear, and quite hot, quite peppery, a little bit spicy. So that's my Infinity batch 2, poured, refilled, tasting done. Enjoy the views on Islay, Lagavulin distillery, and when this gets down maybe to the middle label there, I'll do my batch 3 and fill it up again. So at the moment we have, I think there's 15 whiskies. I've got a little note in the back now as well. So if you're interested, you can check the first video that I did, my Infinity explanation, and what was all in the first batch. And if you've got any questions, obviously get in touch either through the YouTube channel or on Instagram. So I bid you adieu, back to the studio Keith, and for now, Slanjava from Islay. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video, and if you did enjoy this video, check out my other videos, new ones being added all the time. That is about it for just now. So I'd like to say Slanjava, I've got a little bit left, so Slanjava, cheers, see you next time.